Welcome, brave souls, to Stories from the Consequence Keeper, a place where the digital shadows of our choices stretch into the chilling reality of our lives. In this story, we unveil a truth far more terrifying than data theft, a truth about what happens when your own forgotten digital self comes home. Ethan, now 29, is exhausted. Just hours ago, he was celebrating a new dream job he just landed. The cheers of friends echoing in a noisy bar, the clink of glasses a symphony of success. Now, back in the quiet, sterile confines of his apartment, the lingering elation felt distant, replaced by a cold dread. The media spoke endless of the latest password and identity breach. Supposedly, over 2 million passwords and identity of individuals were leaked onto the dark web for the highest bidder. The media called it the Great Password Breach. Ethan was well aware of the warning. He changed a few passwords. He spent an hour creating two-factor authentication for his banking sites. He reset his passwords on his social feeds, even the fleeting whispers of forgotten dating apps. Every digital thread was meticulously traced, every ghost meticulously laid to rest. His new employer had searched his media profile, and he did not want to chance something negative being revealed that could jeopardize his job. No stupid derogatory postings, images of friends, political views, or college hijink photos. He convinced himself he was safe, nestled within his freshly scrubbed digital slate. He was wrong, very wrong. Because in the deepest, most corrupted corners of the web, one root remained. Not just an old Gmail from 2013. That Gmail account was linked to an obscure social media gaming site he'd frequented in 2013, a place he'd long since abandoned. But it was a digital echo, a tombstone he'd forgotten to bury. That account, it wasn't just a login, it was a scar, a gateway to that long-dead uncensored gaming forum where, cloaked in anonymity, he'd unleashed horrors on others. Cruel words, vile threats, dark fantasies he'd buried so deep, even he tried to forget. He assumed the forum, the words, the malice, all dissolved into zeros and ones. He was young and immature back then. At least that is what he told himself. He was a fool. He harassed and humiliated other players until the point he was blocked from all users. The site would dissolve 2 years later in 2015 under political and social pressure. So it was no longer a concern, or so Ethan thought. Ethan began to notice something odd when he arrived home late. The first whisper was a shudder, a trick of the air, a phantom rustle outside his window. But then, his smart speaker, usually silent, began to hum with a low guttural murmur. He leaned closer, straining, and heard it. Not just a sound, but a single chilling sound, breathed directly from the device, a scream. He dismissed it, blaming the wind, his overactive imagination due to his exhaustion from celebrating. The next night, the digital veil thinned. His smart TV's news segment dissolved into static, then displayed fragmented images of his own anonymous posts from that old gaming site. Blurry texts, crude pixelated threats, flickering and morphing. A distinct sibilant sound sliced through the static, a chilling whisper slithering from behind the screen, a child crying. He dropped his glass drink, shattering it on the pristine floor. His heart hammered against his ribs. He desperately changed the channel, blaming exhaustion, hearing things he had to be. But the whispers grew bolder, personal. The following night, as he sat at his desk, his laptop open, emitting a faint pulsing red glow, it chimed with a low resonant thrum. And from the speakers, he heard it. His old Gmail password, the one linked to that gaming site, no longer whispered, but spoken in a breathy, distorted voice, like wind through a corpse's skull.
Shadows Die Twice, 2013.
He slammed the laptop shut, the sound echoing in the silent room. Then came the other forgotten fragments. His phone, without warning, vibrated with a phantom notification. He picked it up slowly, trembling. The screen was blank, but from inside the device, a chilling whisper. An old address he'd used years ago.
Ravenwood Lane, 47B.
An email account from a decade past, not hissed but growled from his tablet. A casual comment he'd made in a private chat about a recurring nightmare now screamed from the very air vent above his bed.
Shadows will be revealed.
Ethan stopped sleeping. He tore his digital world apart, unplugged everything, ripped cables from walls, pulled down curtains. He even wrapped his laptop in blankets, stuffing it into his closet, then stood guard, a wild, hunted look in his eyes. His modern, minimalist room transformed into a suffocating bunker, a desperate attempt to create a digital dead zone. Still, the whispers didn't cease. They seeped from the creaks in the floorboards, the low hum of the refrigerator, the distant rumble of traffic, each sound twisting into a familiar dreaded echo. His own voice, distorted, demonic, repeating the anonymous phrases he typed on that long-dead gaming forum. His worst words, the whispers. They began to laugh. The same sarcastic laugh he pestered others on the gaming site. This time more sinister, more evil in intent. He heard so many phrases.
You're an asshole. You suck. Off yourself.
They didn't just have his password. There was history, screenshots, his address, his name, his identity, the names he'd tormented with anonymous threats. Before deleting every scrap of evidence, they had it all. And the internet, Ethan discovered, never forgets. He stared at his past. With trembling hands, he found the old Gmail account still active on another, rarely used device. No new messages, no signs of a hack. But when he tried to delete it, the option was gone, replaced by a single mocking GIF, a slowly blinking eye, the whispers from the walls. They began to sing, not a melody, but a chorus of his vile comments, layered and echoing, a symphony of his digital sins. Someone found that old account, someone who remembered every cruel word, every life he tried to embarrass, and they've been waiting years for revenge. The victims he forgot never forgot him. By the final night, Ethan huddled in the darkest corner of his living room, tears and sweat streaking his face. He thought back a few nights ago when he came home from the party. He didn't notice it then, but among the crowded restaurant, a figure was there, a shadow was watching him. Suddenly all screens in the room, his desktop, tablet, smart TV, suddenly flared to life, bathing him in a blinding, sickly green light. On the desktop, text rapidly formed, glowing with malevolent intent.
You thought you were anonymous, Ethan. You were never anonymous.
The tablet showed his own distorted face from 2013, now twitching, pixelating into a gruesome caricature, its mouth agape in a silent, horrific scream. The smart TV displayed an aerial map, a glowing red dot pulsating inside his apartment, directly over his location. There was no escape. From the terrifying, deafening crescendo of digital static and the horrifying echo of his past, one distinct, perfectly clear voice emerged, closer than any other. It whispered a full name, slowly, deliberately, with a chilling intimacy.
Ethan Marshall, we are here for you.
The voice breathed as if right beside his ear, and then a sound that wasn't a whisper, wasn't digital, but distinctly real. A soft, almost imperceptible tap, tap, tap. Ethan's eyes, wide with pure, agonizing terror, stared at his computer monitor. A ghostly, transparent hand, composed entirely of shimmering, fragmented green binary code, appeared inside the screen, tapping on the glass from the inside, reaching out. As the final tap resonated, Ethan's face, reflected on the screen, began to distort, ripple, and then dissolve into a cascade of glowing green binary code. He never changed the one password, because it was no longer his to change. Something or someone had found that old gaming site login, and now it was coming for him, because the internet never forgets. It simply opened the door from the inside. The screen of the monitor now showed a static, distorted image of Ethan's face, trapped within the binary code, screaming silently. The physical Ethan in the room was gone. The final tap echoed, followed by a low, satisfied digital hum. Ethan didn't move. He couldn't. His digital past had found a way to consume his physical present. The door remained closed, but he was no longer on the outside, his forgotten self now rattling from within. The consequence of inaction, of blind complacency, of a digital footprint left untended. Your digital self is more than just data. It is a hungry shadow, and when the breach comes, it might just come to reclaim what's owed. As the wise often whisper, the digital abyss gazes back, and when you ignore it, it might just pull you in. Don't let your forgotten accounts remember you. If this story opened your eyes to the true horror of the digital realm, hit that like button, share this chilling warning, and subscribe to The Consequence Keeper for more tales from the edge of your screen.